This is Call of Duty Black Ops 6. We're diving in, literally, here on Xbox Series X. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. We're taking a look at the beta event. I know, really exciting, right? So at the current point in time, I've got like literally 11 hours already into this, which is pretty crazy, as it's been a lot of streaming work. So I've got a pretty good grasp of the currently available 3 maps that are available for us to play, and the variety of modes in a mosh pit, which include the likes of Team Deathmatch, Hardpoint, and Domination, which are your pretty staple Call of Duty game modes. So this year's big thing is the Omni movement. I know, right? Where you can walk backwards. You can dive sideways, which I'm trying to do right now. Wah! So it just allows you to move in what is really more of a realistic and natural way, and what kind of seems like a regular evolution and progression for movement within the Call of Duty games. Nothing too crazy there, although I did have a bit of nausea. I was feeling rather sick from the movement because your characters now have this intense sway. So I fixed that by going to graphics and going to the camera movement and doing to 50%, and that fixed that right away. So we've got FOV options, very much your usual stuff. We have the 120 Hz mode on. When we do the full review of the game, when it comes out, I'll show off the 4K 60 FPS mode, which is like the default one. For now, we're just engaging with the 120 FPS mode because, you know, it's the beta of the game, and we're more or less just talking about what it is and how it looks. So the 4K 60 mode, definitely a better visual showcase, but with the higher frame rate mode, the 120 Hz option, you are getting something that is, you know, kind of giving you a higher frame rate, although I've noticed for some of the maps, the performance is not anywhere near 120 FPS. And it's something like a dynamic 1440p. It's basically as per usual, right? We've got the HDR, we've got support for things like, you know, your Atmos, your spatial sound, all the typical Call of Duty features that you expect are here again with this one. Now, it does seem like there is some level of, like, texture streaming issues because the visual quality isn't quite where it should be. And you gotta remember, this is like the first COD dev, I guess the 4-year dev cycle, allegedly. And it's just kind of like, to me, not as impressive or enhanced as I kind of thought it would be. I'm actually a little underwhelmed. It's okay, like it's fine, you know, it's another Call of Duty game. I think personally I like it more than I liked Cold War, which is good. At the same time, it kind of feels like a step down from Modern Warfare 3.2 to me, and I kind of would prefer to be playing that one over this one so far. So I'm hoping the more modes and maps we see kind of make this more interesting to me, because it kind of feels a little, I think, honestly, like, bland is kind of the terminology. Like, this map is good. The other 2 maps really aren't very good. And the color palette and stuff leaves a lot to be desired from those particular levels. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at for this one. And I guess it's like forced texture loading in for modern CODs going forward. Or at least that's their direction for now. So the texture streaming is definitely a thing that will possibly impact your gameplay, because you need it going on in order to make the game look its best, I guess you would say. So the beta is fine, it's okay, it's just not kind of mind-blowing. Like, I kind of had low expectations kind of going into it, and I kind of still kind of felt a little underwhelmed by the gameplay experience. It doesn't, I don't know, like, it feels okay to play, it feels fine. It's nice to see the MP5 become a powerhouse again. The music is absolutely phenomenal for this game. I will give them the highest of props for the music. It's just like something about the gameplay. I think it's the movement, possibly making me sick earlier too, but the gameplay just doesn't really feel exciting and fun to play like normal. It just kind of feels like a worse off Modern Warfare 3 2, like a bit of a downgrade on it, just in terms of like visuals and the gameplay and the movement. And well, the omnidirectional thing I think is a natural evolution movement wise, so I get that. But I'm saying outside of the Omni kind of shifting around, it just kind of is like, really sort of so. Like, it's strange, you know, as I've mentioned, I played over 11 hours of it already. Which is a crazy amount of time, but when you're streaming and doing work, I guess it makes sense. So I've pretty much got a great grasp on this, and it's just not super blowing me away. It just kind of feels okay, kind of a through the motions sort of Call of Duty entry. So I think it'll probably hit well with most people. I do hope they iron out some of the networking problems in terms of like parties and stuff like that, because that was an issue from a beta many COD moons ago, but it seems back in this one where sometimes if you're loading with or matchmaking with a squad, it just matchmakes infinitely. So hope they fix that. Gameplay wise, I don't know what more they really adjust. It's just kind of like, I think the color palette in this game is really sort of muted, and I don't know if that was the style they were going for or something. And it seems like the time to kill is pretty decently quick. I don't really have a problem with that. Some people say it's slow. I don't know. I feel like you die pretty quickly, and the balancing of weapons and stuff is a bit interesting. And yeah, I don't know. It just seems really kind of alright. I am a little worried about the grind for like weapons and stuff like that, how much effort it's going to take to get through this, you know, the trees for weapons, and because we got the new prestiging system and everything, and you can get to level 20 and unlock some in-game items to carry over. So would you please kill that guy? Like, honestly, ridiculous. And then we've got the new shield system, so you can take someone as a meat shield, so you get behind somebody, you double tap the right stick, you can take them as a meat shield for a bit, and, you know, they could get saved, or you can, like, execute them early, or you can have them take bullets for you. It's, yeah, it feels more like, instead of really reinventing the wheel, they're sort of just, like, doing some fine-tuned adjustments here or there. It's just for, like, the dev time that they had on this, and Treyarch, I just kind of... I was really hoping that they were going to, like, reinvent the wheel to a degree. Like, I know Call of Duty, they usually play it safe. You get a COD every year. You know, it's something we do. We do the betas, we do the coverage. That's just part of the cycle of gaming. And yeah, I was just kind of hoping for them to have one of those years where they were kind of coming out of the gate swinging, doing something really different, and like, yeah, it's kind of just basically a quality of life upgrade for them, adding that kind of thing, because everything else in this game feels very safe and kind of similar, and it's just kind of like middling gameplay wise. I don't know, I'm just not too blown away by it, and just for the fact that I know that I have to sit here for the next year basically streaming this game, because, you know, I gotta do the reviews of it, I gotta stream it the whole year for all the new Battle Pass stuff, everything that comes out, you know, do a lot of streams. It's just kind of like, when I play this game, it makes me want to go back and play Modern Warfare 3-2 instead. And that is, to me, a bit of a problem. Like I said, just sort of a going through the kind of motions sort of thing on it. And I'm hoping, with the addition of more maps that were locked out because I did the security thing, that's funny, or different modes and stuff, that it gets a little bit better. Because it just kind of feels really typical and by the numbers. Like I said, the Omni thing doesn't really seem to change gameplay too much, outside of some people getting in awkward positions, kind of hiding in the map like they look like dead bodies. You don't think about them too much, but yeah, it really doesn't change much. You got your usual guns, you've got score streaks, you've got occasional equipment thing like ammo that pops up, you got your custom classes. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty just straightforward, run-of-the-mill kind of stuff. Strangely, the helicopter that you have can kill you. I've died twice by my own helicopter, which is really weird. Wondering if that's a bug. I don't know for sure. Yeah, I don't know on this one. It's kind of a weird Call of Duty because it just sort of, again, feels sort of bland and boring to me. And I know I've played a lot of it really fast, which is not ideal either because it's just going to be burnout, right? But yeah, I'm just not feeling that same kind of flair and excitement that I was feeling with Modern Warfare 3-2, which that game I always thought was basically just a sped-up version of Modern Warfare 2-2. And this feels more in line with Modern Warfare because it is, to a degree... Oh, that's funny. Are we going to get a crash here? It is too, like, it's using more of the same engine thing, which is funny. So that's my second crash today, which is hilarious. So we'll jump into another lobby here. So I took that as an opportunity to change it to the 4K 60 FPS mode, so the visual fidelity should look better at this current point in time. But yeah, okay, so this map runs really, really badly, like in the 120 Hz mode, and I guess also the 4K 60 mode, it just runs horrifically. Sometimes you get like weird pauses, sometimes the performance is just kind of a drag. It's just kind of weird because, like I said, they've had the longest dev cycle Treyarch to kind of pull this together, and the lack of polish. I know it's a beta, but betas are basically glorified marketing material things at this point in time, let's be real here. And especially since Xbox now owns Activision, I was just kind of expecting a bit more like polish. And like visually, it really does to me feel like a downgrade from the Modern Warfare experiences we've been having over the last couple of years. I was expecting a very clean, impressive current gen Black Ops experience, and that just really doesn't seem to be the case. Like Cold War, you know, all kinds of different opinions aside on that one, that game had a really sharp visual presentation to it. It was, you know, aesthetically pleasing to a degree, and it looked clean and had sharp visuals, and then you play this and it's like a lot of it looks really, really quite murky, and visually it's not great. There's this other map where it's the dome level, and it's just sort of this like 360 color palette where the color grading is just so poorly, like it just looks so gray and browns, and it's just like a very drab, sad, dreary map, and not in like a mood way, but just kind of the look of it. And this level itself, I think, is the worst of the bunch. It's just the flow of it isn't very good, and not a great looking map. Like the idea of it's kind of neat, like a broken down kind of train yard sort of thing, but yeah, it's odd. And then also for the satellite map, it's got like this, it's overly large for the player counts, and it never feels really great to play on, and yeah, I don't know, just like overall I was just expecting something that was a lot more impressive. And you know, again, bugs, stuff like that, it is, I get a beta, they are going to fix things, they are going to adjust things, they're going to make things better, but gameplay wise, especially since we're so close to launch, it's not going to change a whole bunch. So it is going to be pretty close to what we're getting here. So to me, the omnidirectional thing, first off, made me sick, which was kind of funny. Kind of hilarious. But like, it's neat, but to me it doesn't really change the gameplay all that much. It's like cool for a few maps where you're dolphin diving sideways, and you know, it's the most realistic backwards moving I've ever had in a video game. But like, it also doesn't really totally change up the gameplay. I think most people are gonna play it, get used to it, and just not think about it. Kind of like when we got dolphin diving and slide, you know, knee sliding. Tactical slide, whatever you want to call it. And people were, you know, at least I was kind of excited and just fiddling around with it. But after like a match or a day of streaming it or something, I was just kind of like, yeah, it's just, you know, movement now, right? So I see that kind of being the thing with Omni movement, is it's just kind of a natural movement inclusion in COD going forward, if people like it. And I don't think it's necessarily something that's like game changing to me, and that is their big highlighted feature. for this game is that it's got that kind of movement that changes up how you interact with COD. And it's like, aside from the slight silly like side jump or something, or trying to like have a laugh, I don't really use the omnidirectional movement a lot outside of it just being a natural swaying back and forth and stuff. It's not like I'm exaggeratingly diving or something like that. So I don't think that's necessarily as crazy a feature as they're kind of pushing it out to be. I kind of compare it to, like, you know, the sports games, like NHL. They added stick breaking one year, and then, like, sticks constantly break, so they show off that new feature. And that's kind of the thing here. I think they're just kind of trying to push that to be, like, an exciting new thing when it's kind of, like, just a little adjustment to the movement. And, I mean, movement is a big thing in COD. Definitely, I get that, and, you know, for the more intense players, I could see that could be a thing where it's like, oh, you know, the movement, everything completely changed. And it's like, yeah, I guess, but... And that's why we're talking a lot about the movement in this video, is because it is something that is at the forefront of the discussion, right? Is because it's a big thing. Jeez, some of the spawning in this is just questionable. I spawned right where the guy just shot me, so he could kill me again. He literally killed me 3 times. Like, well, I'm glad I got him that time. It's like, this is a large enough map. I should spawn at the same spot like that. See my point? Anyways, yeah, I don't know. It's pretty middling to me, this one. I'm not really blown away by it. I'm not necessarily looking forward to covering it for a full year, but it's not... Like, I like some parts of it. We'll have to see what the full kind of package is, but after like day 1 and like 11 plus hours, I'm just sort of like, well, obviously I'm burnt out of it, but I'm just sort of like, even a few hours in, I was kind of like, oh, okay. And it was just kind of like, I don't know, I feel a little defeated about it, if that makes sense, where I'm just sort of like, oh, this isn't really the big change up I was kind of hoping for from Treyarch. And I don't know what exactly they would have done to do that, but I just kind of expected at least a better polished, better looking, more impressive current gen game, because it does feel like we're getting visually a downgrade from the gameplay and aesthetically too from what we got with Modern Warfare. And I know that like Treyarch games have always had like a sort of grit and or different kind of look to them, but it is kind of strange that we're not getting something that looks more visually impressive. Because I thought Cold War, when it did come out, and when I played it, that game actually looked, you know, like a decent visual game and showcase and stuff at the time. And I just kind of expected more of an evolution from Treyarch for this one, because I was just like, oh, Treyarch, you finally, you know, not weird moving aheads, not weird delays. You get the full time, plus some, to actually put out a really complete package, and the multiplayer is like a big part of Call of Duty, obviously. And it's just kind of weird that that is the case. And I thought the whole point of them not having our previous operators carry over into this game was that they wanted serious military operators right off the bat. We already got like zombies and stuff, and it's the beta, so a little weird. Like zombie operators, but... You know, and weird laser weapons and stuff. I mean, I don't care too much about that. We're gonna have silly guns and things in COD because that's just how it is, right? But it is kind of strange. So far, I'm not really blown away by the beta showcase of the game. I'm hoping the more they reveal, the more exciting it gets for me. I'm hoping the full package is kind of exciting. I think overall, thus far, my biggest thing is it's fine, it's okay, it's serviceable. Visually, it's not at the level I kind of hoped it would be at. I'm hoping maybe the texture streaming adjustments kind of fix that over time or something, or updates fix that. I don't know. The omnidirectional movement isn't quite a game changer, but it is an adjustment to the experience we're used to, so that's fine. And I was just kind of expecting to be more wowed. And I think at the end of the day, I'm just kind of like, so, okay. And I did play a lot of it. And there could be a little bit of burnout, too, for sure, from playing too much. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see the full thing on this one. But the beta hasn't necessarily, like, been something that's truly sold me on this game, and I was really hoping for them to come out of the gates just absolutely swinging with something impressive, and I don't think they've fully hit that mark thus far.